You tell me, when you heard the music at the start of this thing, did you think we were going to be watching like violent porn?
I certainly thought porno.
Yeah.
I didn't necessarily put violent in there, but I guess when you attach Charles Bronson's name to that kind of music, violence and sex go together pretty hard here.
Definitely. He's got a sexual edge to him.
I guess.
They kind of force it in there.
They always have him bang a young woman for some reason, and as he ages in these movies, it gets more and more unplausible.
Well, you don't want to watch him bang some old lady.
They don't show you any banging.
Hey, speaking of old, do people still say porno? I feel like that's kind of an old expression. I think they just say porn now.
Yeah,
Did you just show your age there a little bit? Oh, God. Welcome to Bad Movies and Beer. I'm Cooper.
And I'm Nolan.
And today we are discussing Death Wish 3.
Yeah.
The third in the seemingly never-ending series of Charles Bronson revenge films where someone close to him gets brutally murdered, thus forcing him to wage war on some gang of street punks. There's a lot of punks in these movies.
It's always punks.
Yeah.
How many of these were there?
Punks? I think about 3,000.
No, not the punks. Okay. They were never ending. I meant the Death Wish movies.
5. And in the last one, it was not punks. He battled the fashion mafia. They were really scraping the barrel for...
What?
Yeah, it's like
Holy
dating some lady
shit.
who's a designer. I think she gets killed. That's
He
always
has to go after the
crooked fashion industry.
Yeah. Wow.
I think they were maybe employing some punks. I don't remember. It was tough to watch. He was like almost, he must have been like 80 in that one. It was
I kind
really
of
hard.
feel like the bad guys in this could have been a part of the fashion mafia.
Oh, there was some avant-garde styles for sure. We'll be covering all of that as we go through this. But before then, as always, we have paired the movie up with a beer. And this is a brewery that we've done before, like a collab, one of your old favorites. What do we got here?
Yeah, I drink a lot of beer from this place. It's Third Moon Brewing Company out of Milton, Ontario. They make some incredibly creative and very flavorful beers. They had a lot of slushy beers that I was really interested in down with for a while. They make some really great IPAs and double IPAs. And we're going to be drinking the Death Dealer today.
Yeah, man. This is one that I've known they've made this in the past, and I've been waiting for it to come back around so we could get it for a Death Wish movie, and it finally came true.
I mean, there's nothing more that you could call Bronson in these movies rather than a death dealer.
That's what he is, yeah.
He literally is just out there murdering everyone who has wronged him and the people he cares for.
That's right.
And so we're going to be trying out this 6.9% porter.
I didn't know it was a porter. I thought it was a stout. Do they make this in other flavors or what?
The Death Dealer?
Yeah.
I'm not sure. I have never had this one before, so this will be my first time. It does.
You know what?
say
I
2025,
actually have the answer to that question.
Oh, you do?
Yeah, they'll make a marshmallow flavor also. So,
oh my God,
yeah.
we have 2?
That's right.
Oh my God, am I drinking 2 of these right now?
I don't know.
Podcast?
It's up to you, but there's a porter
shit.
and a porter with marshmallows. Thought it'd be fun to give those a try. So
this was a surprise for me. Cooper has snuck in a 6.9% beer to get the day rolling.
Get the day rolling. What the audience doesn't know is that you and I both had some drinks last night, and I don't know about you, but I'm not feeling that great today. So
this is gonna dust it off. Now, do I drink the marshmallow or the regular first?
That's up to you, my man. We're gonna find out.
Shit, I don't know what to do here. I think I'm going marshmallow second. I'm going to go straight up
sweet
first.
note.
Yeah, I'm going to end it on a sweet note. We're going to finish with dessert. We're going to come in hot with the straight up death, just like Charles Bronson to start this bad boy.
I'm going to go the other way around. I'm going to flip it. I'm going to come in late with the death, like Charles Bronson in this movie, when he dusts off that fucking giant machine gun.
Oh my God.
We'll get into all that. Yeah, man, let's crack this open, or one of these. What are you doing here? You're regular first?
Oh, I'm going regular
Okay, I'm going to go marshmallow.
All right, then we can, compare. All right, I did not spill stout everywhere. That's a good start. Oh, it's not a stout. I'm going to have to catch myself. It's a porter.
After the Canon Films logo, which you'll love to see, we get some very funky music and a Trailways fleet bus carrying Charles Bronson into New York City, back into New York City, I should say, since that's where he spent the first 2 movies. Unfortunately, the New York City of this movie has been thoroughly overrun with punks who we see in action immediately. They straight up murder some guy named Charlie, and all I could think of here was, how is this guy related to Charles Bronson? Because they are going right into the Death Wish.
I think they had just spoken on the phone before his apartment gets broken into and he dies as well, right? So you know that Charles has a vendetta already. He's going to be taking someone out here. And it is these Michael Jackson video-esque thugs that show up on screen.
Yeah, they do look kind of like the guys from Bad, the music video for Bad.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
That's kind of why I got that Michael Jackson connection there. But they remind me of the character, the Lost Boys from Hook as well.
That's fair.
They're not tough or scary looking, really. They're just kind of silly looking, but You know what? They are roughing up and murdering people on the streets here. And the first victim, like you said, that we see is Charles Bronson's friend. Bad timing for Charles, as he gets there just a little bit too late to save his friend. But does that mean he's going to abandon this community, or is he going to have to help out? He sees a problem here, and he's been wronged.
He does, but actually the community's going to help him out first. And thank goodness, because they might be able to get Bronson out of jail. You didn't mention that as soon as he shows up, it's right before the cops get there. So they naturally think that he killed Charlie. And as if things couldn't get any worse, once they bring him down to the station, the chief immediately recognizes him despite his assumed name.
Kimball, is it? Son of a bitch. I'll be a son of a bitch. It's not Kimball. It's Paul Kersey.
How do you think the chief feels about a famous vigilante being back in his city?
Oh, he's not interested in it at all. In fact, he's so uninterested in having this famous vigilante here. He's willing to lock him up without cause, without a conversation with a lawyer, right? He's just going to throw him into Gen Pop here for a little bit and see what happens.
Yeah, man, he does. He throws Bronson in a holding cell thinking that'll cool things off. This is a Charles Bronson movie. It's not going to cool things off. It's going to heat things up.
Sorry, what does Bronson do before he gets tossed in that cell? He kicks the chief right in the
So he gets a fight with the chief before they even fucking get him in there. So you're right, it's not cooling down.
Yeah.
Things heat up even faster in the cell as Bronson rams some dude's head through the cell bars, which I think was physically impossible, before running afoul of some punk who will clearly be the movie's big bad. They're not wasting any time here, eh? I like it, man. I got shit to do. I can't sit through 45 minutes of setup like fucking Shocker 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, we are into this movie pretty quickly. The big bad here, the head thug, we're going to find out in a minute, just looks like some douchehole with a terrible haircut.
Yeah, he's got like a reverse mohawk. Like the center of his head is shaved and the two sides, I don't know, it's weird.
It's bad. We know that he is running a gang now, they tell us, in the Belmont area of New York, and it is where his buddy Charlie lives, or did live, I guess, because he is now unfortunately deceased. Yeah. The cops aren't doing anything about it, so I don't know. The chief, although saying he wanted to lock him away, does look at the crime statistics in that community and suggest maybe we do need a little bit of help.
Yeah, man. It turns out the chief likes to think outside the box, and with crime out of control, and we see how out of control it is. They have no fear. They are dominating the streets. The chief has a creative solution. He's going to unofficially deputize Paul Kersey by putting him back on the streets with a gun.
It'll be just like before, Mr. Vigilante. With one important difference. You're going to work for me.
And because, again, this is a Charles Bronson movie, we know what his answer is going to be before the chief even asks if he's in. You betcha, sweet ass, I'm in. He doesn't really say that, but
yeah, I was going to say, I miss a sweet ass line, and I wish that were true. That's one thing that we'll talk about at the end of this movie, but it lacked a little bit of Charles Bronson flair.
Did. He didn't really have the one-liners, which was a bit of really the only bad thing I can say about this. Sorry, from a Bronson fan standpoint, not a movie technical standpoint. There are several things I can say.
Yeah, there's a lot going on here.
There are, man. So after a scene of that main punk, Fraker is his name, reasserting his dominance by killing the guy who took control of his old crew, we see that Paul Kersey's attempt to clean up the streets is off to an inauspicious start. His old man running isn't fast enough to catch a purse thief, and Bill from Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure also gets away after Bronson knocks him off the hood of some lady's car. Call me crazy, but I think Bronson's going to need some guidance here. Maybe another old friend of Charlie's who can be like a Mickey to his Rocky. What do you think?
He just doesn't know this community enough and know enough about the gang. We don't have the backstory we need. And you know what's going to help fill that in? Just a convenient old man. Just like you said, he's going to be the guy who gets all the exposition here. He in like a 1-minute section, ties up all the loose ends we needed to know about the people of this building and the gang. And he starts to take Charles Bronson around to meet all of the residents. He needs to know who he is protecting and saving in this film.
Yeah, man. And like you said, that guy played by legendary actor Martin Balsam gives him so much intel about these punks while also introducing him to the community. And Bronson, with this new knowledge, decides to send a message by setting a trap that it'll be impossible for the punks to ignore. How does that work out?
Are you talking about the nail trap?
No, man. The brand new car he parks outside.
Oh, my goodness. Yeah. So Bronson does. He goes out and buys himself a new car, parks it in front of the building, knowing it's going to get broken into. He waits until he hears some punks breaking into it, confronts them, and then ends them immediately with a shot to each of their chests.
Yeah, this is also where we get kind of the only Bronson-y line in this movie.
What's the problem?
What?
With the car. What's the problem?
We're still in the fucking car. What's it to you?
It's my car.
A little bit, yeah.
Yeah. It was a bit of a funny moment. He definitely was not mincing words, though. He just ended their lives and sent them a message. And that's actually what he tells Bennett, his friend, when he gets back in the building.
Well, that's the thing, man. Word of Charles Bronson's heroism spreads like wildfire throughout the community. His various new neighbors, the ones that haven't already met him, they want to meet him. And we even see him inspiring the youth of tomorrow when sharing a celebratory fist pump. But a reputation is a double-edged sword, and pretty soon word of his exploits makes its way to Fraker, who vows to handle him. You know what I say to that? Good luck getting past Bronson's exercise regimen and homemade booby traps.
I wouldn't call it a montage, but we get some shots here of him doing some push-ups and creating some nail and other traps around here. He's ready for these punks to come get them. He does get a call from the thug leader there with a little bit of an implied threat. Why everyone, I guess the phone book tells everyone whose number.
Yeah, the phone book. You know, back in the days when people used to say porno instead of porn.
He doesn't give a shit about this, though. He's in for pissing off the gang. He's going to start causing some trouble for them, trying to disrupt their sort of hold over this neighborhood. He wants to fight back for the good guys, for the people who are part of the community.
Yeah, he is for sure. And we mentioned homemade traps. He's got a couple of things that disappear, like a thing where a guy steps in a bed of nails and hurts his foot. Later on, we'll see one where it's like a seesaw effect. If you step on it, it swings up and either smacks you in the face, or one has a knife that goes through a dude's forehead. And it occurred to me that this movie is kind of like a grown-up version of Home Alone. Seriously.
Yeah, there's a lot of that kind of shenanigans set up here. Just the fact that most of the people who suffer the traps are immediately killed.
Yeah, or the one guy, they pull the board back and the neighbor's like, what's that? And Bronson's like, teeth. And it's like two of this guy's teeth are in that fucking board. But after foiling a couple of attempted home invasions with the aforementioned booby traps, Bronson's feeling confident, so he takes another shot at catching that speedy pickpocket. They call this guy the Giggler because he giggles gleefully as he runs away.
Wasn't that your name in college?
No, it was the Gargler.
Oh, okay, yeah.
So I used to no, this guy leaves Paul Kersey in the dust again, but Bronson has a plan. His friend Wildy is arriving soon. Turns out Wildy is the biggest fucking handgun you've ever seen in your life. It fires a big game round, so who's got the biggest penis now, punks?
He's definitely ready to take down a whole bunch more of this gang. The chief is kind of riding him here, though, because he wants a bust. He wants something that he can take to the media to sort of show that things are going down and helping here.
Yeah, not just more dead bodies.
Yeah, exactly. He doesn't want to have to explain more dead bodies. And we also get the public defender, a person who we didn't really mention at the start. She snuck in and was the one against holding him earlier because there was no evidence for him to be there. But she drives up and invites him to dinner to talk about what's been going on. This seems a little suspicious, and at this point, I know immediately he's going to have sex with her.
Yeah, you called that quickly. And I tried to play devil's advocate and give you an argument that it wouldn't happen while knowing full well that it absolutely would. That's right. Yeah. We get a tough scene here that's kind of the opposite end of the sex spectrum, where Counselor Troy from Star Trek The Next Generation gets brutally raped and assaulted by a gang of the punks. And after being told by the police that there's nothing he'll be able to do, we cut back to Bronson's apartment and get a hard zoom on that hand cannon, so we know someone is going down. Turns out it's the Giggler, who goes after the camera Paul Kersey is dangling, only to end up with a football-sized hole in his back. And when they find this guy's body the next morning, the chief says it best.
Christ, there's not much left of this sucker, is there?
No, there isn't. Remember cameras?
Yeah, we don't see people carrying around those cameras anymore. They're just all on our phones. I like the line in this where they ask him what he's going to go do, and he says he's heading out for ice cream.
Yeah.
And he's heading to sell the trap. That's one of the few lines that I was like, okay, they placed that one well.
I like the way because he didn't say ice cream, he says ice cream. Because like the Bronson accent. Fucking love that shit. Yeah.
So he does. He blows away the Giggler and sends another message. He's not going to put up with these rapes and like other horrible things that are going down. The chief does also suggest that like the guy was a good shot and the only person who could have done it didn't work on the force. So that was kind of funny. Clearly they're shitting on the force for not doing a good job.
Well, it's clear the cops have not done nothing like you said at the beginning of this episode. Like, they're just doing fuck all here.
They're useless here. Every time we see them, there's shots of like 30 gang members just throwing rocks and sticks at cop cars as the cop cars like drive away from this community. They're afraid to do anything. Right after we have this sort of the police find the body and talk about it, we transition to Bronson heading to that public defender's house to go get some chicken in his mouth.
Well, I was gonna say, turns out that being good at setting traps doesn't stop you from falling into them, as our next two scenes show Bronson first falling into his defense attorney's honeypot, metaphorically for now, before taking a run at Fraker, literally, and walking right into an ambush. And the worst part is, Bronson trips over an old crate and loses his giant gun. And by loses, I mean clearly throws it away in the act of tripping. This was not a well-done stunt.
They needed for him not to be able to just blow everyone away here in this like 3-minute section of the movie. So they had to conveniently have him lose his gun. After he loses it, he does sort of hide and get chased by some guys. He beats them up and punches them, but eventually gets trapped. And we think it's really over for him, but actually he's able to escape onto a rooftop and have a bit of a battle with a coked up thug.
Yeah, we got a lot of scenes of the punks just like mowing coke before going off to commit crime, which I like, anti-drug message. What do you think?
Yeah, definitely a little bit, I guess. This is definitely a pro-gun movie and an anti-drug movie. This would fit right into all of these sort of stereotypes about communities and violence and like who are the people perpetrating it and who are the people being harmed.
You think those are pro-gun though, those communities? No.
Oh, I think this movie's pro-gun. I just know Bronson is a huge gun nut, right? Like, he is the one selling the idea.
And anti-drug, because in Death Wish 4, he single-handedly tries to wipe out crack.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. It's called The Crackdown.
Is it really?
It is.
Oh, my goodness. Is it anything like, coffee?
It's exactly like Death Wish 3. Oh, sorry, what is it?
Is it like Coffee?
I wish. Coffee's such a better movie.
Yeah, way better than this.
Yeah, that's fine, though. It's a different genre.
Yeah.
Well, Paul Kersey does manage to get away after throwing that coked up punk off a roof, but things are starting to get out of hand. So not only does the chief tell him to cool it for a while, but Fraker decides to punish the neighborhood by killing one of Bronson's old lady friends in the apartment building.
Is this Mr. Emil?
Yes.
You threw one of my boys out of your store last week.
Who is this?
It's your wife. She's dying.
This puts Paul Kersey in a tough spot. Like, he feels like this might be his fault and maybe better for everyone if he left. But Bennett's got a different idea. A giant machine gun. The kind you mount on a fucking Jeep. So start the clock, Noel. Now that we've seen it, you know that gun's coming into play at some point.
Absolutely. Apparently, this is the guns his buddy Charlie, the one who died at the very start of the movie, were hiding there. And Charlie had actually sent a message.
Brought it back from the Korean War.
Yeah, Charlie had actually sent
a
message saying that he wanted Bronson to look after his stuff, and that's what he was meaning, right? So Bennett and Bronson are going to, at some point, take out those giant guns and try to mow people down. Bronson warned against it, though, here, because he said innocent people might get caught in the crossfire of this shit, but if push comes to shove, you're right. When is this giant gun coming out to take down the evil bad guys?
It'll come out when push comes to shove. That's going to happen. Yeah, the pushing and the shoving's coming.
Yeah, well, we're about to have a different kind of pushing and shoving.
Yeah, man. No, it turns out that lady defense attorney is the personification of that gun. We saw her earlier, so we know Bronson's going to nail her at some point, and he does.
I'm leaving the city.
What?
A couple of weeks with my sister in Binghamton. I just wanted to see you one more time.
I didn't think you wanted to leave the city.
Oh,
And
my
then he
goodness.
nails it. But
They kiss, and the kiss is hilarious because it's like a close-up of Bronson's mustache touching against her face, and it's a little bit dirty, and you know that the insinuation is that she rides that mustache when they're in bed together afterwards. We don't get any sex scene. At the start of our episode, you mentioned that, like...
did you want one? Did you want to see fucking Bronson's old ass, like, bouncing up and down on this lady?
I'm not sure, but I wish they would commit to it, right? Like, I think back to some of the movies we've seen before where you're like, not so handsome leading men are willing to commit to, like, a full sex scene, and I'm like, I wish that Bronson would do that.
Are you thinking of Human Tornado? Rudy Ray Moore?
Yeah, Rudy Ray Moore. I was also thinking of the one
Tonally, it'd be weird with the...
where the guy made his own movie. What was that one? It was hilarious. He'd sung his own songs, and the songs were
Oh, Champagne and Bullets.
Yes, yeah. Like Bronson to me would be like a Champagne and Bullets-esque sex scene kind of guy.
I still think that guy was really having sex in Champagne and Bullets, the record. What a great episode that was. Listen to that episode.
Oh, if you have not heard
Good
that
stuff.
one, I want to go back and listen to
Yeah,
that
man.
one again because that movie is fucking
It's
hilarious.
so silly.
Yeah.
So this is a very tender moment, but as any Bronson fan will tell you, the most dangerous thing a person can do in a Charles Bronson movie is become close with Charles Bronson. And sure enough, this lady gets killed mere minutes after they have sex. Why don't you do the folks at home a favor and break down the totally realistic way she dies, Noel?
Oh my fucking god.
Yeah, I'm so mad about this.
Oh no. Well, you know that I have a problem with explosions in movies. This one is actually possible, I guess. There are a couple other in this movie where like cars are being shot and they explode and I got angry. For some reason they're in the community and Bronson decides to get out for a second and leave his new love
They're
in the
getting
car.
food. He's hungry after boning down.
Yeah, but why
He
would
needs
he
to
leave
refuel.
her there? You don't leave
You're
her in
right.
the car.
That's a dumb move.
There's no chance that you would leave her there, right? You would take her with you. This is just
He's
like
the real father of that guy from Shocker.
Yeah, well, this is just like Jonathan leaving his girlfriend when he knows someone's going down, right? Like I was
Yeah,
thinking
man.
back to Shocker, and this is that moment, right? So he leaves her in the car. Of course, the head punk shows up with one of his buddies, and they punch her in the face and knock her out. And conveniently, he is parked at the top of a hill. So they push her and his new car down the hill, and I think she's going to go in the river or some shit, but no. A car passing the other direction happens to be in front of her at the last second, and they collide, and you know what? The cars both fucking explode. Like,
Yeah.
they both go up immediately. There was, like, I thought he would find her dead because she wasn't in a seatbelt and she'd been punched in the face. Like, I just thought she'd be, like, through the window or something. No, they wanted to make it really clear she was dead. They blew up both fucking cars.
I was going to say, too, when that first car exploded, you were mad. But then when the second car exploded, oh my God.
There
Great
was
stuff.
no reason that it should explode.
Well, they're old cars. A safety standard's not what they were. I can't
Those
justify this.
giant metal
I
tubs,
can't
they would
justify it.
bang
I know.
into each other and just lay there, right? Like, yes,
They were like
could have
real
died.
life bumper cars.
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly. Yeah. So his girl's dead
Yeah,
now.
this-
He's only
yeah.
known her for like, I don't know. He's had sex with her once and known her for 2 dates.
Two
but,
or 3 days.
I don't
total,
know.
Yeah.
But he's devastated and he's going to get his revenge.
Well, regardless, there's blood in the water, and Fraker can smell it, and he ratchets things up several notches around the neighborhood. He's blowing up shops, brazenly robbing people again, and he even throws Bennett off a fire escape. Now, you and I were obviously expecting Charles Bronson to break out the artillery here to take back the streets, but could you have possibly imagined the amount of bullets he's going to put in these guys?
Oh my God. So the chief knows how Bronson's going to respond to this, right? He doesn't want to have an absolute bloodbath that he has to clean up, right? I'm picturing, I don't know, like the chief after Bad Boys, after they're like
Yeah.
going and blowing everything out. This is the kind
Who's
of
going to
thing-
pay for all this?
Yeah,
Like,
exactly. That's kind of what I'm picturing. So he actually tries to put Bronson in protective custody. But cleverly, Bronson sneaks out after visiting Bennett in hospital, as you suggested, right? He gets out of there and he heads to the apartment and he loads up on the largest
big machine
arsenal
gun.
of shit I
That's
have
right.
ever seen.
The machine gun and what else?
Oh, he's got a bazooka, like a rocket launcher
Rocket
comes
launcher.
out. He's still got that ridiculous hand cannon and all those like handmade bullets. There was literally a slow montage of him making bullets
That's
that you
true.
know were going to kill people earlier in the
Yeah.
movie. He's also still got his like smaller gun too. So he's heading out there with just like an extreme arsenal, and you know this is going to be bad for the punks. How many are he going to take down? I wish I actually had have kept count. Because it would have been in the hundreds, I think, of the amount of people that get mowed down during this sequence.
You can probably find out online. It was definitely approaching like commando levels of just like faceless dudes getting mowed down. As he runs from place to place with this giant gun, he needs a guy with him there. In fact, I'm 90% convinced that the whole reason the guy who was married to Counselor Troy is only in this movie so that he could carry the big box of ammo around this gun. It feeds into it, right? Like one of those like...
That is absolutely
yeah.
fair. He needed to have someone carry his ammunition as he walked around with this giant machine gun. I buy that from you as a perspective because he clearly didn't do a good job of acting sad when she died. Like there was some
Yeah.
really bad reaction in acting, but almost immediately he was kind of useless except for holding ammunition. Like he also has some terrible gun that he's going to bring with him, like this
Oh,
weird
yeah.
like pump thing.
It's like a homemade. It's like two lead pipes that you slide on each other like a bullet comes out. I don't understand it.
And I have no idea why Bronson didn't offer him one of his like 100 guns filled with a million ammunition, right?
He has so many fucking guns.
Help this guy who's on your side actually fight back rather than running around with this weird like ancient technology.
That's really funny. No, man, you're absolutely right. But this is playing out exactly the way you'd expect it to. The punks are getting bolder, but Charles Bronson is just mowing them down. Like, he is absolutely on fire here, hitting everything that moves. But what I did not expect in the sequence was the citizens rallying behind him and coming out with guns, knives, and traps of their own. He has really inspired this community in the way that only an old white man can.
We're going to war.
Yeah. I don't know about you, but my favorite part of this ridiculous sequence where they're just killing hundreds of people was when Bill from Bill and Ted is about to kill Bronson. And all of a sudden, the chief shows up and shoots him and then inexplicably shouts,
I owed you that one, dude!
to Charles Bronson before joining him on the street to shoot literally dozens of punks. These two old men are just jogging down the street, killing dudes with zero cover. And the music here is just glorious.
It is so good. The fact that neither of them take cover and cannot get hit by bullets. I will say, to be fair to whoever wrote this, he takes a couple bullets early in this large
He gets
battle.
like one in the arm. It's like the kid in fucking Shocker.
No, but not
one
even in the arm. He takes it in the bulletproof vest. They show you
that's
that he's
fair.
wearing
Yeah.
it, and maybe that is their subterfuge for why he doesn't die from this shootout. There must have been thousands of shots fired at him and the chief, and both of them make it out here pretty well. The other thing that blows my mind throughout this process is the physics of when people are getting shot. There's all these people getting shot in the chest and then falling forward and like flying over stuff.
And we've
like,
seen him hit guys with that fucking giant gun and they go flying like 6 feet backwards. But other times he gets them in the chest and you said, yeah, they fall forward over stairs. And I'm like, why?
Yeah, it's rough. There's this battle going on between the people of this community. The police have, to give them credit, joined this fight, and they're taking some casualties too here. And the punks, who are getting pretty handily beaten, they do call in some backup. We get like quasi motorcycle gangs who ride in and start throwing Molotov cocktails and some grenades, and they're doing a lot of property damage, but they're also taking a lot of losses themselves. All of this culminates, like this giant loss of life and ridiculous explosion culminates back in that original apartment, the one where his friend was killed by these thugs, and the chief and Bronson and the leader of the thugs all there in what looks like an incredible standoff.
Can I ask you a question though? Why are they back at the apartment?
Bronson ran out of ammo.
That's what it was?
That's what
I'm
brought
like,
them
this
back.
one like strategize,
No,
get
Bronson
coffee.
runs out of ammo, and which is shocking because he must shoot like 1,000 shots before running out. Like his jacket must have been full of ammunition. But
Well, that's the thing. They don't show him reloading a lot. This is purely
They-
to get
they
the guy
show
there.
some reloading.
They just
They
wanted
show
to blow
some.
this dude out the window, and that's the only
well,
reason.
so okay, you're blowing that up before we get there. We get there and we head up there, and he starts reloading his gun, but before he can get it finished, the bad guy gets a
Fraker.
drop on him. Fraker gets
does.
a drop on him.
But the chief gets him.
Chief opens the door and shoots Fraker. Fraker's down.
Yep.
Chief
Seemingly dead.
Chief and Bronson start talking what's going to happen yet, and then Fraker pops back up again. He's pulled the vest as well. He shows them that he's got the bulletproof vest on.
Just like yours, asshole. That's what he says.
You're right. And then we get that standoff, right? Guns pulled on each other. How are we going to like get rid of this standoff? Nobody's going to win here. Everyone's going to be dead.
No, that's not true. The chief points out that he can't get both of them because they're on opposite sides of the room. But despite this, Fraker is still confident, probably because he's coked out of his fucking mind. And that is how I will always remember him, as a confident man. Just before Bronson pulls out that rocket launcher he showed off earlier and bazookas this guy right in the chest.
Oh my God.
Fraker literally explodes out of the building and down to the street below, where his completely flaming corpse is enough of a sight that the remaining punks throw down their weapons and run away.
Yeah, that smoldering corpse really got to them. They were like, this is the end. If they can take Fraker out with a rocket launcher, they can have this shithole that has nothing left. Like, the community is completely destroyed. There's nothing there. Now, to be fair to the people who live there, they can rebuild. But we have quite the mess that has been destroyed to get rid of these punks.
Well, and to be fair to the punks, there is one guy who's still, like, he raises up a bicycle chain, he still wants to fight, but then this lady's like, no, let's get out of here. And they all fucking leave.
And then they're gone. And then they go join that Michael Jackson video
That's
that
right.
they had all
they
tried
go
out
and they
for.
audition for Bad.
Yes,
and
exactly.
they're there. And
half of them are in the Michael Jackson video. Half of them get recruited for Hook, the movie.
The others go to Voyage. They're rock aliens, and they're on one of those. No. So this is a win for Charles Bronson.
Oh, of course.
And as he walks off into the sunset with 70s porn music blaring, we know that yet another neighborhood is safe. And sure, dozens if not hundreds of people are dead, but several are still alive. And where I come from, they call that justice.
I guess so. The chief here pulls him aside and lets him go.
I'll buy you a few minutes. Get out of here. I'll be after you.
We know now, and well, I guess we know because there's 5 of them, that this is just him heading off so there can be another. You said the next one is him shutting down the crack trade. Is that also in New York?
I think he's in Los Angeles for that one.
Oh, wow.
I think.
Departure here.
Yeah, there are some like Mexican gangsters, and that to me says California, but I could be
Okay. So
misremembering.
we're off there.
We can watch that one very easily.
I'm pretty sure we could just do a marathon of these fucking things and they would all apply to our
It
podcast.
wouldn't take long. This is, I think, the fastest episode in the history of our podcast. This is a very short episode because so much of this movie is just lengthy scenes of him shooting people with no plot or dialogue.
That's going to get right into our enjoyment and bad ratings, I think.
I think we might as well. Yeah, at this point, we've reached the end of the movie. So the way we always do this, we have to move on a scale of 1 to 10 2 times. 1 to 10 for how bad it is, 1 to 10 for how enjoyable. And the goal is to find movies that are a 10 out of 10 on both scales, or what we call the Crit 20. And I will start by saying that I love Charles Bronson. I'm a big fan of his persona, and I'm a big fan of his movies, and I love canon films. And this movie is 10 out of 10 bags. It's a huge piece of shit. And just that, like, the plot is the thinnest fucking plot you could possibly imagine.
Yeah.
The characters and their motivations are paper thin. I don't know why that attorney sleeps with him. She's met him. They've known each other for like maybe 45 minutes of actual time.
There's a lot of unbelievable shit in this movie, and that might be the most implausible plot point. That old D must be fantastic.
Accused murderer. Yeah. Well, you know he's got the stamina. We saw him cranking out those push-ups, and he can run for not at a high
slowly
speed. He can run
for like a
well, it's a marathon, not
minute,
a sprint.
right?
Unless you're literally trying to sprint after a fast pickpocket, in which case he's very outclassed.
You can't do it.
It's completely unrealistic. The fight scenes are ludicrous. There's thousands of guys shooting at him and the chief, and they can't hit him, and they can't put him down. And guys are falling every direction, and there's no rhyme or reason to how or when they're getting hit and how or when they're falling. The rules of physics don't apply. Calling this a paint by numbers movie is an insult to like paint by numbers. Like,
it's an
they're
insult
easy
to
enough
the
for a
nature
child
of
to do.
paint.
It's I feel like a 5-year-old could have written a quick synopsis of this, and it would have absolutely matched up with what happened.
It felt like a 5-year-old wrote that sex scene.
His mustache tickles her lip, and then we fade to them waking up.
Yeah.
This movie's a giant steaming turd. 10 or 10. It's a 10 for me. What do you think?
Oh my God. The story is so bad. And the fact that it is just him going into a like sort of rundown community in New York, and that there's this like art group / thugs who have taken over is very paint by number and also predictable, and also doesn't flesh out enough of it. You were excited earlier in this movie how quickly we got into the action, but I felt like it's not compelling. Part of that is we're starting on number 3, and I haven't seen 1 and 2, so I didn't know his pain of losing his wife and then losing his daughter.
But he loses somebody every movie.
Yeah, and this one is
Every
just his
movie.
like old guy friend.
Well, and then the lady he's boning.
Yeah, and he boned her once,
And
and
his
she
neighbor.
blew up 30 seconds later. It's
Oh, he was looking forward to. Listen, she's 30 years his junior, as you pointed out. He's looking forward to getting back in there.
Oh, I agree. That would have probably made me more angry than anything else that happened to him in his life. But
Is that his wife dying? Oh my God.
no, obviously not. But
All right.
so the story sucks. The acting is not good.
Yep.
Right. The costuming is absolutely
Non-existent.
ridiculous.
Show up
like,
whatever you're wearing. One of the punks is just wearing like jeans and a red t-shirt. Like, what the fuck is going on here?
plausibility is terrible.
Yeah.
Not even close. The explosions of cars for no reason is obviously something that drives me.
That's a -1 for you,
absolutely
isn't it?
bonkers.
For
Yeah,
something?
that
For
would
enjoyment?
enjoyability
Yeah.
-1. Yeah, that's an enjoyability -1. So I'll have to remember that when we get to our next one. All of that being said, the pace was good. Right?
All right.
The shots and explosions and bullets and blood
Oh,
and
you know
realism
what?
were all fairly realistic.
We didn't mention there were a couple of like vaguely artistic shots. One where like we see
through
Bronson
the arm,
through the arm
and a
of
couple
the chief.
other
A lot of close-ups, some quick cuts here.
Editing worked well, right? Like all of that stuff.
It just confused me though.
I only had it as a 9. I did not go all the way to the 10.
Fair.
It's still bad.
Yeah.
But it's a 9. As my first experience of a death wish,
Yeah.
I was confused why he's still alive. Like, if you're wishing for death, like, why aren't you just fucking going all out?
He should have died in the first movie.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I
many
think.
times. Well, actually, the first one was kind of paced out slower. He should have done the second one many times. This one, he should have died
hundreds of
5 minutes into the movie. Yeah. How enjoyable though did you find this on a scale of 1 to 10?
So the action was fun and expected. Like, it was very paint by numbers, but it worked well. It was one of those silly bad. Like, I was laughing a lot at how ridiculous it was. It is Bronson. I don't think I'm in love with the mustache and guns and bravado in the same way that you are, but it's still entertaining.
Well, you didn't grow up with Bronson. You're meeting him now as like a 40-something-year-old man.
Weird for me. But and who is this for? Like, who was the target audience of this shit?
Ooh, that's a great question. Middle-aged guys in the 80s?
I guess
who
so,
wish
right?
they could murder a bunch of punks?
And like bang
people who don't
women
like
who are 30 years younger.
Yes. Well, I mean you don't. that's very relatable. I feel.
All right,
no, you don't think that like we all find the passage of time. This younger generation, they're a bunch of idiots.
Yeah.
There's probably angry fucking get off my lawn guys in the 80s who were like, fuck yeah, I'd like to go out and just machine gun a bunch of young dudes and nail my hot defense attorney.
There you go.
Yeah.
It was short as well. Smooth.
Very short.
Get through it. Right. I had it as a 7.
Okay.
I'm not sure where that compares to the other Bronson movies. This is not as
Lower.
good.
I think
it is.
yeah.
Murphy's Law was better. Just that one,
in the sense of
that one scene was so fantastic.
That one scene's good, yeah.
In Murphy's Law, that I think it carries it over
Fair.
this one.
10 to Midnight's a lot better than this movie.
Yeah,
I'll say that.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So I had it as a 7. 9 bad, 7 enjoyable. What was your enjoyability?
So I will say that when I think of like a mindless Charles Bronson movie, this is the absolute epitome of mindless Bronson action. We've barely cracked like the fucking 40-minute mark here on this podcast because the action is just so lengthy and mindless, and guys are getting shot and nothing's happening except shootings. And you're just like,
there's nothing to talk about.
There's nothing to talk about. There's no dialogue. There's
I'm
no
having
characters.
trouble getting through my second porter here because it's been so short. We need to extend our talking so that I can drink this in time for us to finish the podcast.
Different Charles Bronson movies? No.
Yeah.
My biggest regret is the absence of Bronson one-liners. You get a couple of quick little things, but none of the ones where you're like, that's it. That's like Murphy's Law had a couple of great ones of those. This was not that. But no, if you like watching Charles Bronson shoot fucking nameless, faceless young dudes, this is gonna have that for you. But like, if you're trying to follow a plot or something, if you want to feel something besides the excitement of watching Charles Bronson literally dodge bullets for 87 minutes or whatever, you're not going to get that from this. So the last thing I'll say before I give my number's an 8. If this was like Steven Seagal, I'd be like a 3. But Bronson,
but at least like several throats would have been ripped out at this point.
Well, that's probably
I hate
true.
Steven Seagal as a person, but he is an entertaining murderer. On film.
On film. No, man, I have this as an 8, but like, I don't know. There's better Bronson movies out there. You can get this with some good one-liners. And I'd probably rather watch Murphy's Law than watch this. Probably.
Is that because you like the 30 years younger lady in Murphy's Law more than
No, I don't actually, but he's got more one-liners. I like the version
it's
of
more
Bronson
about the one-liners.
No,
All right.
you know what? Honestly, I bet you could watch this movie at like 1.5 speed and not really lose anything compared to watching it at 1 time.
Really?
Speed. Yeah.
You think you could speed it up and it would be
I'm
the
gonna
same?
go out on a limb and say that.
Okay.
That's a way you could watch this and it'd be fine. No, man, it's Bronson. It's enjoyable. It's so silly. The music alone gets it a couple points. For
You
me,
just like that it sounds like a porn.
It's funky as fuck. It's so funky. Yeah.
Or porno in your language.
I'm just an old man who loves old men killing punks. That's what this is. No, man. What'd you think of these 2 different beers?
Ooh. So I crushed the one, and
I like the marshmallow one better.
I'm about halfway
I'm gonna cut
through
you
it.
off.
I think you're right. I think the marshmallow is better. I liked the first one. My fear was that the marshmallow porter was going to be too sweet. I'm used to drinking the high alcohol stouts that I can only drink like a third of the can before it's overwhelming in its sweetness, and that
Like
is
when
not
what we had for fucking Hard Rock Zombies.
What did we have it for?
The Imperial Hard Rock Zombies. The Imperial barrel-aged rye stout.
Yeah, that thing was a lot. It was a lot. This, though, is fairly crushable and not that sweet. The marshmallow's kind of subtle, and it adds just a little bit more to the original porter.
I like them both. Original porter is got that smoky porter taste that you expect. The marshmallow one just adds something. It adds the sweetness, but it's not that like fake sweetness where you get that kind of back of your throat burning, like what I get from lactose sometimes in beers. This is not that. This is a nice complementary sweetness, I would say.
Really smooth.
Yeah.
Really, really smooth. Finishes with a nice bitterness on your tongue afterwards. Yeah. Really good mouthfeel.
But if you want, I always fucking get so uncomfortable when you say that. But if you want a like actual, like a standard smoky style porter, I think the regular Death Dealer is absolutely what you'd be looking for. It's comforting in the way that a mindless Charles Bronson movie is comforting if you're a Charles Bronson fan. So
yeah, that's fair. If you're looking to drink one of the two, though, I do think you're right. The marshmallow one has just a little bit more depth of flavor.
Limited edition. Only once in a blue moon will you find that one.
Or in a third moon.
Oh, shit. Well, we can't get any better than that. Let's wrap this one up.
Yeah.
No, that's it. That's what it is. No, man, good stuff. Third Moon's always reliable. If you like IPAs especially, or if you like slushy sours, they're great for that. But every once in a while, they do something else, like a porter.
Yeah. Or a stout.
They do a lot of coffee stouts, actually. They're really good. So check them out in Milton, Ontario. I believe they ship throughout Ontario, or if you're in the area, check it out. I said that already. I'm very drunk. 6.9. Took down 2 of these. So
I'm surprised we haven't made a joke about that 6 and 9 being together.
I was purposely trying to avoid it after all the shocker comments that, right? 2 weeks ago. Yeah, we got very sexual in that episode.
Yeah, we got a lot of feedback on how
people don't. Some people like it, and some people really don't like it.
Yeah,
I don't know. Anyway, 2 weeks from today, I'll tell you that we are going to be watching. This will not help with the whole sexual thing. We're going to be watching an 80s low budget horror movie called Invisible Maniac. It's about a scientist who becomes invisible and uses that power to do exactly what you'd think a guy would do.
Does he look at women naked?
Yeah, he purrs out on some ladies, and I'm going to enjoy it. I don't know about you. we're going to watch that one.
Oh, this is always the question. If you can become invisible, do you use it for good or do you use it for off?
I can only think of not good reasons. What can you do? What can you do for good if you're invisible?
Well, you could
spy on China. Just kidding, China.
A lot of crime. You could see a lot of crime and get evidence against.
See a lot of crime.
You could witness things that you wouldn't normally be able to witness. Because they can't see you. You're invisible.
But how do you know where the crime's going to be? You just go stand where you think crime will be.
I guess so. That's what detectives and police do. Imagine being an invisible police officer.
If they knew where the crime was going to happen, there'd be no crime.
Okay, I guess that's fair.
Anyway, it's not called Invisible Police Officer. It's called Invisible Maniac. It's going to be sexual. So if you didn't enjoy our shocker episode, I don't know. Maybe don't come back for that one. I'm kidding. It'll be a great time.
Come back for that one. It's going to be fun. Cooper's going to say inappropriate shit, and I'm going to laugh.
Yeah,
and it's
just Cooper. Before then, if you have not already, please follow us on social media at the BMB Podcast on Twitter and Instagram.
Send us emails, thebmbpodcast@gmail.com.
Absolutely. We love to hear from you. And as we wind down our 5th season, we're looking forward to season 6. Give us some requests. Give us some ideas. Make our job easier by removing the strain of trying to find movies to review. No. We'd love to hear from you as always. Thank you for joining us today for Death Wish 3, and we hope you'll join us in 2 weeks' time for Invisible Maniac. Until then, I'm Cooper.
And I'm Nolan.
And we'll see you next time on Bad Movies and Beer.
Keep on blowing away those punks.
If he can't find justice, he'll make his own.